Flapjack, do that thing you do every day, all the time.
Hello, what about me?
No, you're not in this episode.
Huh? Cartoon Network has always been kind of strange. But some shows didn't just push the limits of weird. They lived in it. Courage the Cowardly Dog turned childhood nights into horror movies. Chowder broke every rule of logic and animation. And Flapjack, well, Flapjack just kind of made us vomit. While laughing, of course. That's a very important distinction. These weren't just cartoons, no. They were three completely different flavors of weird. Today we're going to be diving into Cartoon Network's strangest trio. This silly, this scary, and the downright unsettling. Now, please remember, ladies and gentlemen, this is very important, very urgent. My name is Dakosity Live, and you should definitely like and subscribe to this video. Because if this video does not get 100 likes and 100 subscribers, and you know what? I'm gonna add one more criteria there, okay? I need you to hit that hype button, and if it is there, I don't even know where it is. Please let me know where it is. YouTube just adds new things, and then I don't know how to find them. But if we get 100 hypes, 100 likes, and 100 subs, that's the trio right there, just like how we're doing a trio in the YouTube video about these cartoons. I will not be giving myself diabetes. That's right, I'm going to quit eating ice cream, but if it does not happen, I am going to destroy myself with Carvel and Ben & Jerry's, and it will be entirely on you. So please, to save this poor soul, do what I just said with the whole, you know, begging for engagement. All right, let's start the video already. First up, we got the Nightmare Fuel. Courage the Cowardly Dog wasn't just a cartoon. It was a horror anthology disguised as a kid show. From Return the Slab to Freaky Fred, this show turned Saturday nights into just sleepless, unsettling, very uncomfortable, sweaty nights. I guess I said nights twice. That's not very good script writing, is it? Courage's weirdness came from fear. The uncanny. The kind of fear that sticks with you years later, where you just have a random nightmare and all of a sudden you see like the big realistic face or some disgusting alien that Courage has to deal with, hearing the creepy sounds, or Courage going surreal monsters, CGI mixed with 2D. Actually, this is a very old demonstration of that happening. Isn't that funny? They had a very long head start on The Amazing World of Gumball with that factor. Added in those little, you know, 3D animation monsters in like in the 90s when this show came out. That's crazy. This show's old. I'm old. Oh my god. This show, incredibly goated, caused probably tons of nightmares. I'm surprised they even aired it. But then again, it's Cartoon Network. To say it traumatized a generation is an understatement. But it also provides much meme culture and has a ton of cult status, if you will. It ran from 1999 to 2002. Funny enough, 1999 is when I was born, and 2002 is when my little brother was born. And isn't that funny? This show was like the bridge between me having my sanity and me losing it in the first 3 years of my life. And it was created by John R. Dilworth with an Oscar-nominated short, you know, for the pilot. Really ordered that well, Dakota, huh? Putting the creator at like the end or in the middle of talking about this show. It's crazy the amount of video essays you could do for Courage too, with how just creepy and surreal it is. Muriel, Eustace, and Courage, the three main characters, is pretty much them. I love all of them. I love how much of a dick Eustace is. Muriel's just the kind-hearted soul, and Courage is just a good boy who's just, you know, can use a computer for some reason, makes all these funny faces, distorts himself to the point where he doesn't even look like a dog, and he has to deal with on a weekly basis these eldritch horrors and monsters and creepy doctors and aliens and God knows what else. I don't know how this is a kid's show, I'm gonna be honest. It's crazy because the creepiest thing for me as a kid when watching this wasn't the monsters, right? It was the fact that they were in this tiny little home, visibly with no farmland or water nearby, for miles. And they're just all alone out there. They're in the middle of nowhere. That's where they live. That is the location stated on the Wikipedia, I assume. I didn't actually look at it, but you know what? They say it's in the middle of nowhere or whatever. I don't know. I don't remember. Nothing matters anymore. Courage to have a few very heartwarming messages, though. To love yourself. And that sometimes, you know, the family, the not perfect family does find you and they still love you a lot. That's what Courage is with Muriel and Eustace, you know. That's why he loves them so much. That's why Muriel is like a goddess to Courage, you know. Where am I going with this? The show was a horror movie for kids, but as a TV show is what I'm getting at. I don't know. It had layers like onions. All right, let's let's talk about Chowder.
Just wait till I get my hands on you, you greasy butterball!
Now on the complete opposite side of the spectrum, we have Chowder, where Courage mostly used fear, the fear of the unknown, the uncanny, the very creepy, just kind of causing nightmares, generally just trying their hardest to ruin a kid's life in a funny way, mentally. Chowder used just absolute nonsense, fourth wall breaking, lunacy. This show was a lunacy. Now all three of the shows we're talking about today have gross out humor. Chowder had a little bit of it, but this is more just kind of, you don't know what's gonna happen the next minute. This show broke every rule of storytelling. From static textures that just didn't move, the fourth wall breaks where characters literally sang about the show ending, or the voice actors of all the characters having to do car washes to make money so they have a budget again for the show.
What no money means? No animation!
What are we gonna do?
Rather.
Chowder's weirdness was pure, chaotic absurdity, and it ran from 2007 to 2010. Created by C.H. Greenblatt, an ex-SpongeBob person. I don't know, that's what Wikipedia says. The show was zany, chaotic, nonsense humor, and meta. This was one of the first very prominent, very obvious shows taking advantage of meta humor. At least from my recent memory, because I'm a dumb idiot. There might be plenty of shows before it, but Chowder was just like I just said, literally the voice actors talking about having to make money for the show because they ran out of money. I watched a few episodes to kind of catch up on it again because I haven't seen it in a while. You know, I don't watch TV anymore. There's not many reruns anyway. We ones. The Apprentice games, goated. Honestly, every single episode of the show is fantastic. Gazpacho, hilarious. Snitchel, rada, the character literally throughout the entire show just says rada, and everyone understands him somehow. Chowder's just going like a shaker, just distracting Snitchel while he's trying to get him out of a sticky situation, if you will. Random cutaways to just like stop motion, which is goated, by the way. Them being able to hear the narrator, episodes just kind of ending, puppet animations during the end credits. Every character was named after a food. It's like Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball does the same thing. Every character is kind of named after food, right? Gohan is literally just rice. Chowder's basically like Dragon Ball. They're like the same show, basically. I mean, they have fight scenes too, somehow, in a show about a little apprentice boy trying to make food. Mung Dal is the most goated character of all time. He's the most handsome man ever. He gets, he loves the ladies. The ladies love him. They love his mustache. Someday Chowder is gonna have a mustache just like Mung Dal. That's why he's the apprentice. He's gonna own the food store one day. God, I love this show so much. God, this show is this is what happens when you take the moon, you take the sun, and you take everything that seems like fun, you end up stirring it all up, and then you're done. Rada. So come on in, feel free to do some looking, stay a while, because something's always cooking. That's the song. I know it off the top of my head somehow. I swear to God, there's something wrong with me. The chaotic humor and food obsession made it stand out. That's why I can't shut the hell up about it. It is a cult classic. Still memed, to this day, at least in my feed, probably because I've been doing research on it, with kind of proto Adventure Time vibes. Obviously not with the same overarching story. And you know what? You know what's funny about this too? Chowder actually got a proper ending. I mean, so did Courage, kind of. We got to see like his origin and stuff, right? For Courage's ending. But Chowder, like, we get to see him all grown up, and you know, he had kids with Panini, right? The bunny who won't stop trying to be his girlfriend, which she ends up doing that, I guess. And he does it. He is now the guy with an apprentice, just like Mung Dal. God, I love Chowder so much. Let me know your favorite thing about Chowder in the comments right now, after you tell me where that goddamn hype button is. All right, let's talk about Flapjack.
You need to grow up.
Grow up? I'm 38 years old.
And then there is Flapjack, probably the most unsettling out of the three, which is strange considering Courage the Cowardly Dog was built off of being like basically a horror kids show. This dark, depressing nautical world filled with grime, candy, obsession, which is just like, you know, a shoe-in for alcohol and drugs, and characters that felt both hilarious and kind of terrifying, with grotesque close-ups. Oh my god, if you think modern SpongeBob has it bad with the close-ups trying to make everything a meme, Flapjack does it a lot better, let me tell you. But it's, oh my god, some of the close-ups are so disgusting. Just like super over-edited 3D monstrosities. Every like other second, it's like, oh! Actually, I can play the sound effect. I use the sound effect in my videos sometimes. That's what I do. Oh! Flapjack's weirdness was the kind that left you uncomfortable, even while you laughed. It ran from 2008 to 2010, baby. Created by Thurop van Oorman. I cannot pronounce that name, mainly because I'm an idiot. I'm just kidding. I'm actually smarter than most people. That's why I told you to like and subscribe and hit the hype button. That's why. Because I know you would do it. If I threatened you, then you would do it. Maximum engagement. That's how you play the YouTube game, baby. I am a very small channel and I do need the help. I don't want to beg though. I'm begging as a joke more so, but also you should do what I'll stop. Notable episodes like Kid Nichols, Candy Wife, Bubby's tummy ache. That Bubby's tummy ache, dude. Oh my god. Captain Knuckles reveals that he had an apprentice before him who fell down a whale's mouth, and you know, he never saw him again. Bubby's got a tummy ache. Flapjack has to go hug her tummy to make it feel better, but he's got to go deep down in her, right? That sounds bad. Captain Knuckles basically leaves him for dead again because he went to the candy barrel to just get candy, even though he's supposed to be holding the rope. And it turns out that Bubby, ate some pies and ended up going crazy and eating an old lady, and then she just rotted down there forever, baking the same pie over and over and over again. That is like the least gross thing, actually. There's so many god awful scenes in this show, from like old ladies looking like they're decomposed zombies, weird fish monsters, adventurers that are built like grotesque dad bods, I guess, if you want to call it that, stinky disgusting toenails. Kid Nichols beats the out of a fly with his toes. The guy who runs the candy barrel, his wife is just Candy. It's his Candy Wife. Now you can imagine how sticky and disgusting Candy Wife is after just a day of existing, let alone the entirety of this series. Just think of what happens to a starburst after being out in the sun for like an hour. Now imagine an entire person made out of that. Also, what is he doing with Candy Wife? Is he having sex with the inanimate object? That's kind of strange. Imagine the smell. Imagine the smell and the stickiness. That is what Flapjack wants you to imagine. The kids show, it wants you to imagine Peppermint Larry banging his Candy Wife every single time you turn on the television. Now, Flapjack also got kind of a proper ending. Not as much as Chowder did, although I guess more so than Courage. So it's very strange, but of course, like Flapjack, that's just run of the mill. You don't know what the hell's gonna happen this episode either. Although at least it's not as crazy as Chowder, but the gross out humor sure as hell makes up for it. Captain Knuckles and Flapjack keep drinking this super 1,000 candy thing, right? Peppermint Larry's like, no, only once per customer. But they keep making disguises, and Peppermint Larry is an idiot, so he just keeps feeding them it, and it turns them into fish, or so they think. So Flapjack and Knuckles go down, and they're fish. They find out how to solve it. They have fish fever. It's not actually the candy stuff. Turns out it was because they were kissing fish. They were both just touching fish. Flapjack was kissing it, and then later we see that for some reason, after being drunk from the 1,000 candy, Captain Knuckles had his clothes on a fish in where he normally sleeps. I don't know if this is supposed to imply that Captain Knuckles was banging the fish, but given his history of adventuring in the the open ocean, and a man's got to do what a man's got to do, he probably has banged many fish. He has probably had very romantic intercourse with these animals, and I think something needs to be done about that. But by the end of the episode, we find out, oh, Peppermint Larry was giving you a good reason not to drink the candy, right? They thought it was gonna turn them into fish. No. It actually turns them into real humans. And then they do like a pog face, and then they gotta leave Storm along because they're freaks. And Bubby also apparently drank the candy too, because she was sad that they all left for a while when they turned into fish. That's the legacy of Flapjack. Very funny yet disturbing, almost Ren and Stimpy-esque. And it even influenced Adventure Time, Regular Show, and Gravity Falls, apparently. That's what the Google told me. So, what is the point of making this video? Well, if you put them together, you've basically got Cartoon Network's full spectrum and a good video idea for Dakota of just strange, silly, and unsettling. This is Cartoon Network. This is the weird cartoons, the kind of like, hey, this is the cool Nickelodeon, right? We got some weird shit here. This is like the teenagers watch this. We're radical, man. We're radical, yeah. I can't do cool things with my hand anymore. Look at that. Oh, there we go. Courage, the scary and weird. Chowder, silly weird. And Flapjack, just downright creepy or gross. They all kind of fall under each of these categories except scary. Courage has got that under wraps pretty much. I mean, Flapjack sometimes, but it's more so if you really think about the situations they're in. It's like, oh, wow. I mean, Storm Along in general is just it's a shithole, dude. We need to build a wall around Storm Along. I can't have people from there coming into my town. But this shows that Cartoon Network is just not afraid to experiment, or at least was. I don't know about now. Imagine watching cartoons in 2025. Couldn't be me. Couldn't be me. That's not the only thing I do all the time now. God forbid I have any friends or feel the touch of a woman in years. I am just yapping. So let's just wrap things up. So which shade of weird was your favorite? The nightmare fuel, the absurd chaos, or the nautical nightmare? Drop a comment down below. The third one that I've already asked you to do. I love engagement, right? And let's argue, not converse, right? I want to stress this. I want to argue with you. I want to have a debate, a blood sports debate about Cartoon Network weird shows, okay? Which Cartoon Network show messed you up the most, okay? I want angry comments, violent. I don't want slurs. And if you enjoy people yapping about Adult Swim shows or Cartoon Network shows, check out my channel. I got stuff about Robot Chicken. I got stuff about Aqua Teen Hunger Force, Xavier Renegade Angel. It's not any of those channels show, but Wonder Shojin, that one's really insane. This is kind of my first one on like an actual kid show. And I talk about anime a lot because I like that too. And Toonami was on Adult Swim, so I know you've seen some anime, I know you're a weeb too. We all are. Don't worry, I can dunk a basketball. I'm cool. All right. It's my time to go. It's my time to go to the gym and squat some pounds, if you say. I love you. I'll see you in the next one.